Police practices, and there has been racism in the police force. When you look at carding statistics, we see that, and so rightly an explicit and overt police presence was not asked for, but the police are on their way and they are going to escort a number of individuals out. As I expressly said multiple times, don't interrupt, act like an adult. This is a safe space for all of us to have a conversation, and we're going to get to questions. I don't know why people feel compelled to ask the same questions they wrote down, yelling at my federal colleague. It's unacceptable and it's childish, and a number of people are going to leave. If
wasn't a safe space.
You are one of the people. If anyone else plans on interrupting throughout the evening, know that you're going to be escorted out as well. So please act.
And I thought to myself, what am I going to talk about at the Economic Club of Canada in regards to racism? It was the first time they had someone come to talk about the issue. And I thought about that speech for a long time before I started writing the speech. And I thought about growing up in Flemington Park. I'm an immigrant. I came from England, like you, when I was about 4 years old, from Yorkshire. And it was interesting because you know, I grew up in a neighborhood that was very multicultural. And my mother is white, my father's black. My father's from a small island called Carriacou off the coast of Grenada. And you know, I grew up in that neighborhood, and you know, there were white kids there, Greek kids, you know, Chinese kids, Filipino kids. Pretty much a reflection of this room. Grew up in my neighborhood. It's a good experience for me. And we all kind of stuck together. You know, when people came into our neighborhood and they wanted to give us trouble, we all kind of stuck together. And you know, we grew up and we looked after each other. And the one thing I learned from that experience in Flemington Park is that we were stronger as a group when we kind of stuck together. And you know, it's interesting when we look at society today, and it's really hard talking about racism. Because we look at Ontario and we think this is the greatest place on the planet, it's a great place to live, we love Canada. And you come to a country like this and you come from, in many cases, you know, some really bad situations. We come to a place like Ontario, and when people start talking about racism, they say, wait a minute, you know, there's so much opportunity here, you know, Ontario's a great place of opportunity, but when you look around, and you start to dig a little deeper and you start to scratch the surface, there are little signs that, you know, some people are doing very, very well and some people are not doing well. And that doesn't mean that those who are not doing well, you know, them doing better is at the expense of those who are doing well. And a perfect example of that is when I was a trustee of the Toronto District School Board, I brought forward a motion to start to collect disaggregated data, just to collect the data to figure out what's going on in our city.